Good evening, everybody. You're very welcome to episode 35 of Words on Whiskey, brought to you by Irish Whiskey Magazine. And we have a very special show and feel very privileged to be able to bring this show to you this evening. But wherever everybody's from, you're all very welcome. We hope you're keeping safe and well. And thank you for joining us on what promises to be an epic voyage. And you know, this is, if you like, the maiden voyage of something rather special, very genuine and very authentic. And I'm delighted to have been given the privilege of actually sharing this with you this evening. So our guest this evening is O Grady. Carl, good evening.
Good evening, Sergius. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And I'm a big fan of the show. As I told you before, I love the work you've done. But thanks so much for helping us today and launching Clare Island single malt and our brand and our website. Yeah, so it's a big day for us. So thank you.
Yeah, well, you might not be thanking me. You might not be a big fan of the show after this, but hopefully you still will be. So, where are you actually? Are you out west? You're out west at the moment.
Yeah, when I look out my window here in daylight, I'm looking over on Clare Island. I'm living just outside of Louisburg, right beside Runa Harbour, where you get the ferry to the island. I married a girl from Duckmacone here, just right beside the harbour. So I moved out. I live here for the winter time for a couple of months in the winter, and then I'm on the island running the business in this for 6-7 months a year. So I've kind of between the two. But today I'm in Louisburg, looking out on an angry sea.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure that's a common sight as well. An angry sea over there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, the wide Atlantic. Jesus. Yeah.
So just to set the scene then, Carl, you are from Clare Island, which is based off the west coast of Mayo. You manage the ferry service there between Runa and Clare Island Harbour, and you have the O Grady ferry service that you look after, and then you have a couple of businesses on the island as well.
Yeah, well, my family's tradition on Clare Island is the ferry service. My great I have to think back now. My grandfather, my great grandfather took it over from his brother in about 1890, after Austin moved to the States with his family. And so John took it over, and it's been in the family ever since. And I worked in it as a child through the years with my dad, Chris, who took it over obviously from his father. And now he's passed it on to Alan and Brian, my two brothers who run the service now. And I help them whenever I can, and help them on the business side of things. But it's their baby mainly now. But it's a family tradition. Seamanship has been in the family for well over 100 years. But for me, at the moment, I run Sailors Bar and Restaurant and Go Explore Hostel on Clare Island, and that's just right beside the harbour. Just above the beach, and we look down onto the harbour area, and we run a season business there from April, May till September, October each year, and it's quite busy. It's quite a busy little spot, I suppose, when pre-COVID times.
Pre-COVID time, yeah. So, I mean, were you born on the island and grew up on the island? Went to school on the island, or?
Yeah, my mother was from Westport, and my dad is from the island. So we were kind of between the two. We used to spend certain times, myself and my brothers and sisters, in Westport in the winter at school, and then in the summers we'd be working on the island. And myself and my brothers then went to boarding school in Tuam in St. Jarlath's. We were kind of where some of the other kids then went to Louisburg. So a good mix of around the bay.
Yeah. And what was it like growing up on an island? I mean, it's a small population. What is it? Less than 200 people on the island?
Yeah, it's about 150 now, roughly.
Right.
It's an amazing experience growing up on an island. There's absolutely no better place in the world for to grow up as a child. There's just nowhere better. It's a very safe environment. You know everybody, and everybody knows you. It's a kind of strange feeling. You mightn't see people in the wintertime sometimes for a few days, well, a day or two. You know, you might be doing your own thing, but you never feel alone on an
Yeah.
island, because you know everybody's got your back, and it's very different. You know, I worked
Yeah.
in Dublin. I lived up there in Dublin for a few years, working as a QS, and I have to say, in the middle of millions of people in the city, you often feel alone. It's
Sure.
incredible. And then you're on an island with very few people on it, and you never feel alone. It's very different. It's an unusual feeling, but yeah, it's quite special. Every part of it, I have to say, has been
Yeah.
positive, and I love it to bits.
Yeah. And, well, we had Jim McEwen on there a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about the island community and the community spirit that exists on an island. And I'm sure
Yeah.
it's very similar there on Clare Island.
Oh, completely, yeah, yeah. It's a wonderful. There's a wonderful community on the island. Everybody works together. Mostly, some people you don't get along with, but that's
like
the same
like any place, like any
any
place.
place. But no matter what, though, when the chips are down, they're always there to help you, and that's really what matters at the end of the day. And yeah, it is. It's a very, very special place. There's no
Yeah.
doubt.
Well, there's a photo there, and the island looks absolutely
Yeah.
stunning. And so,
Yeah,
I mean,
it.
the ferry service from Mayo, it's a 20-minute ferry crossing, is it?
That's right. Yeah, you get the ferry from Runa Pier, just outside Louisburg, and 20 minutes on the big boat. You know, it's short in comparison to some of the islands. Our neighbouring island, Inishturk, is 50 minutes to 55 minutes. It's a bit further out. Clare Island is supposed sitting right in the mouth of Clew Bay. It's kind of close to Achilles. The Clew Bay is a horseshoe, and Clare Island sits smack bang in the mouth of it, almost like a guardian to the bay. So it's quite close to Achill Island, and it's quite close to Louisburg, and the beaches around Louisburg and Crowpatrick. I mean, when you're sitting in Sailor's Bar and you're looking across, or even on the beach in Clare Island, you're looking across the bay at Crowpatrick, Ireland's pilgrimage mountain, which is very distinctive. And then you've got the 12 Bends in the distance, and Wheelra Mountain, which is the highest mountain in Connacht. And just around the corner, then you have the Killery Fjord. And the inner bay, then you've got the Drumlin Islands. There's about 100 Drumlin Islands in the inner bay. So, and all the way around to Achill, Newport, Westport. It's quite a panoramic view. A wonderful location. We're blessed. We're blessed, really. And then obviously our neighbouring island, Inishturk, is just up the way from us, and a great community of people up there too that we get on quite well with. So
has the Wild Atlantic Way, the promotion of the Wild Atlantic Way, played a big impact on the tourism now in the island?
I think so, yeah, of course. I think the Wild Atlantic Way has been a huge success story. I think it's probably, it's been competed against well now with Ancient East and Dublin and the Heartlands and all of these wonderful brands that are around. I mean, Ireland as a destination for me is just an incredible place. When my wife asked me where you want to go for a break at the end of the season, I don't want to hop on a plane. I just want to head south, head north, head everywhere, and be amongst Irish people, and it's just a cracking place. But the Wild Atlantic Way is a huge success. Yeah, absolutely. It's a very positive impact on the numbers coming to the island, and as a brand, it kind of sets. I don't know how you'd explain it. It sets a precedence for us all, whereas we all aspire to be something better, I think, and that's one of the defining I think advantages to the brand. I think people all want to be associated with it, and people want to improve their businesses and their offering. And I think that's a testament to the success of it.
Yeah, I mean the tourist season obviously has been decimated this year. What's the long term and short term effects of COVID being on the island?
Well, I suppose from a business point of view, of course, it's had a massive impact. Socially, obviously, most important, of course, it's had an impact, I'm sure. People on the island have felt protected from it, from the COVID for quite some time. But then there was a minor outbreak on Clare Island that they got through quite well, and nobody badly affected by it. But so socially, yeah, it's had an impact. But I think people have braved their way through it quite well, and looking forward to the end. From a business point of view, yeah, it's cost us money. It's cost us a lot of money. It's just debt that we have to kick out to the end of our loans. And but in fairness, we've the supports that have been put in place from government and from the council, the rates, and every little bit has helped. And
Sure.
So we're all sharing the load. Obviously we're taking on extra debt ourselves, but also we have been supported on a government level as well. So yeah, looking forward to getting through it. It's not too far away. Fingers crossed. May, June, we'll open, and please God, for the last time, we'll be forced to close. This will be our last closure, as God, forcibly. So. Looking forward positively. Looking forward. The season is looking very strong. We've got a lot of bookings in. So yeah,
that's great. So I mean, the island is small. It's 16 kilometers squared, but it's quite mountainous, and there seems to be a lot to do. There's certainly many sites.
Yeah.
This is one of them. So you gave me the pronunciation of this earlier. Grania Whale Castle.
Grania Whale's Castle. Grace O'Malley, yeah. She was a famous 15th century pirate. She was born and reared on Clare Island, but she expanded around Clew Bay. Quite an incredible woman. Her story is, I suppose, becoming more prominent as time goes on. But in a time of male-dominated world, she was chieftain of Clan, and quite incredible. But that's her castle, and the anchorage for Clare Island whiskey is literally sitting right on where she would have anchored her ships back then, which is quite cool. We're working. There's a tourism group on Clare Island, or Grace O'Malley Restoration Group. We're trying to get that castle renovated, and it's been led by Ellen O'Malley. But yeah, we're working towards that.
Yeah, and this is the lighthouse that was built in 1808 and only closed. I mean, it ran for 159 years, so that's quite an achievement. Spectacular view, and it's
spectacular. Yeah,
and that's where you are on the map, just in case any of our viewers haven't actually been there or know the area. So very west coast on the wide Atlantic Way. And this is the lighthouse. It's been restored as a B&B. It's operated as a B&B now.
That's right. It was a fantastic story to the lighthouse. My grandfather, or my uncle Jackie, my father, before that was servicing, and my grandfather used to bring the supplies up to the lighthouse to keep it going, to keep the candle lit, and they used to bring it from Runa into the island and carry it up by cart. But my uncle Jackie then was the last lighthouse keeper in the lighthouse, and he was actually the man who turned it off, because across the bay a new lighthouse was set up, because lower down the Clare Island lighthouse is actually quite high, and they found in fog it was less effective. But it was bought over a number of years ago by a German man, Gustav Fischer, who lovingly invested significant money to bring it back to its current state, and quite a beautiful place. And iconic, the mega cliffs, as I call them. It sits right on top, looking across out into the wild Atlantic. It's quite a place. But we've partnered up with the lighthouse as part of our experience. We'll talk about that later on. But it's an exciting partnership. But yeah, beautiful place.
Yeah, it's definitely on my bucket list now. Anyway, so and this is the monastery now. Can you tell us a little bit about the monastery and what you discovered in there, and how the brand links in?
The Abbey has become a very central part of our story. It's a 12th century Cistercian Abbey, and I think in the 80s and 90s, the OPW worked with a German specialist to bring the paintings, the frescoes, back to life. And he literally lay, I think of Michelangelo or whichever one of them lads that did the Sistine Chapel. He spent so long on his back bringing these paintings back to life. And an incredible bit of work, and a credit to the OPW and the people involved. But the ceiling has a number of symbols on it, I suppose, that would be pagan, some pagan symbolism, and as you see there, the phoenix, the dragon, and this one in the bottom in particular is what we would say is a body-sharing beast. You can see the back. There's actually another half of him that is weared away, but he shares 3 tails, and it's like a fox, but it's more of I suppose a serpent of some type. But I suppose there was a lot of questions. Part of the Royal Irish Academy's survey of the Abbey, which was a very detailed bit of work. The lady that did it had, I suppose, her conclusion on it was that why are there pagan symbolism on the ceiling of a Christian abbey? There's a code to be deciphered. There's a lot of questions left unanswered around the Abbey, and we're, I suppose, working on trying to help people decipher or let themselves decipher what they see. But it's quite a special place. It's also the burial place. Well, the burial place of Grace O'Malley, so it has huge local significance, cultural significance, and mythical significance too. So a wonderful place. And
so they date back to when, Carol? Those images
post 12th century.
Right, okay.
Post 12th century, yeah. So
amazing,
wonderful. Yeah, it's a wonderful place to just go and spend a bit of time in silence, really, which will again form part of the experience as we'll talk about later.
Yeah, and this is the premises that you have the Sailor's Bar on. This is yours, and what a spectacular view! I can imagine on a beautiful summer's evening, sitting out there having a nice dram or two and some nice fresh fish, a few lobster.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
Absolutely, yeah. It's beautiful location when the weather is nice, and also when it's ferocious. And I remember before I did the place up over there used to be an old single pane glass on that when I was a kid, and my dad built this place originally in 1962 as a hotel. And he himself and my mum ran it as a hotel for many years until I took it over. But I remember as a kid sitting. It's just when I'm looking at the picture now, I remember it. There was a hurricane way back. Can't remember exactly, but a boat got stuck out near Old Head on Clare, out the bay from us, and another boat, a big trawler called the Honeybee from Achill, went out to rescue the boat. And I remember having my face pushed up against the pane of glass, and the glass was waving in on me. I can still remember it coming in and out like this, and how it didn't break, but my jaw stuck to the glass, keeping an eye on the boat heading up the bay very slowly. And
What was it like for you to leave the island? Because you did leave it for a few years. You went abroad. You came up to Dublin. What did you end up doing? What drew you?
I left in, I think, 2007, 2008. I suppose I had done, since I took the place over after my mum passed away in '99, I had done a number of different business plans to try and renovate it as a hotel, and tried to bring it up to modern times, and none of the business plans worked out for one reason or another. The figures just didn't add up, and in 2008 my final business plan didn't work. 2007 it kind of fell through, thankfully.
Yeah,
Jesus, the crash.
maybe perhaps just before the big crash.
Yeah, I got out of that one with my with the skin of my teeth. But anyway, I suppose I was frustrated then, and I just said, right, I need to do something else here. And so I headed for college. I went back to college and studied quantity surveying down in Limerick. And I got my qualifications, and I headed to Dublin, and I worked with Davis Langdon. Later went into ACOM and worked as a QS up there with the guys, and had an amazing time, and worked on some big projects and learned so much. It was just awesome, and I was enjoying it. I was enjoying it very much, and I suppose I could have very easily stayed there and progressed, but I don't know, there was something in the back of my head all the time. The business was still there. There was a young guy, a local John Francis O'Malley, that was running the business at home as it was, and I just had this thing that I wanted to try and do something with it. And in 2011 I put a new business plan in place, and I got support from Leader and from the bank, Abbey at the time, and I didn't think, it was 2011, nobody was giving money to anybody for anything, and it was like it was still in the thick of all the depression. And I was sitting in my office one day in Dublin, and I got an email to say that you have been approved on your funding, and it's all system. And to be honest, that was just like a box in the face. I didn't know what to do.
I mean, what is?
Yeah.
This is the bar inside. This is obviously a bit of a slug,
One of the spots. Yeah.
Very good.
So,
what is the lure of the island that keeps bringing people back, Carl? Is it something you can put your finger on? Is it something that you can identify clearly, or it's just the sense of home is so strong?
Well, I think for Irish people, the sense of home is strong for everybody, no matter where you are. I think that's one of the cool things about this country, But I don't know, what is it about an island? I mean, since I was a kid, I've been running the boats with the brothers and the dad, and the ferries, and I don't know. When you do it so many times, Jesus, if I had a penny for every time I've been in and out to Runa on a boat, I'd be a millionaire. But I don't know. It's when people are hopping on the boat, you're taking their hand, you're bringing them on board, and the boat turns, and you kind of you look at people, and their face, their face is into the Atlantic. They're getting the salt in their face, and you just see their eyes close, and it's kind of, I don't know. They're going someplace. They're leaving something. And it's that sense of getting away and leaving all your troubles behind. I don't know. Islands are special places. They're a special place for me, and I think they are for people that actively go there on holidays. And I think when you're in a rut, or when you're in a place that you're not too happy with, I think people's mind would go to an island for that tranquil moment. I don't.
This is the ferry, or the Dolphin, and this is the original boat that you used to take passengers between the island and the mainland, and it's called the Dolphin. And I think it launched initially in 1980. No, not 1980. 1968.
68. You got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there it is. There in better days.
In better days, yeah. That's probably not far after she was launched. Huge, history behind that boat. She was the first purpose-built ferry to the island. My dad built her with the O'Malleys down in Curran, John and Tom O'Malley, who were the local boatwrights in Clew Bay at the time, and they were working with their dad, and it was the biggest boat they had ever built. And I think when she landed on Clare Island, my granddad said to my dad, "You'll never keep that boat here in the winter."
Yeah, well, look at the winter. I mean, the winter can be pretty rough there. We can see.
Yeah, the winters can be pretty rough. But,
I mean, I presume that's where the boat just doesn't go out.
Yeah. That's what you call swell. heavy swell. But the Dolphin is, she carried everything from animals to houses. And as kids, we'd be like a chain gang with if somebody was getting a house built, block by block by block, plank by plank, onto that boat, in and out the bay until you got it all across. Animals, tie their feet, roll them on.
It doesn't look that big, Carl, in fairness. It looks pretty small.
No, it's 36 foot. But she's built of good stuff, though. That picture was actually just after myself and my wife, because we sold her in 1968 when my dad bought the Pirate Queen, a big purpose-built passenger boat, 100-passenger boat, and she can carry 20 ton on her. So the Dolphin was a surplus to requirements. So with a heavy heart, we sold her to a fisherman up in Belmullet, and he worked her for many years. But then she fell into disrepair and she sunk at the pier. And when my wife and I were on holidays up there in Belmullet one time, we just pulled in there to the harbour, and I just literally, the water was up to just under her cabin, and I looked at it and I knew straight away. I said, "That's the Dolphin."
You recognised it, yeah.
Just Jesus, I recognised less on it. The amount of blood and sweat that went into that boat. But it was an amazing find, and that's kind of where the whole Clare Island whiskey dream started.
Is that dragging her back now to the island?
Yeah. We got some local help up in Belmullet, and we brought her back to the island in 2015 and pulled her up onto the slipway there, and spent 2 years working on her, bringing her back to life. But more importantly, brought the man that built her, old John O'Malley from Curran. That's the day she was launched. That's old John. That's my dad, Chris, there on the very right with the hat, the pea cap. And there's John leaning down, giving his guidance, and John Dara, his son, there helping out. But it was great. I actually, when I brought her back, I rang John and I said to him, I told him what I was doing, and he was like, "Oh Jesus, no!" Like, his hands are, from all the work, they're gone in on themselves with arthritis, and so it took a bit of convincing, but once he kind of bought into the story and the idea about what we were doing, I couldn't keep him away in the end. He was mad to be involved. So himself and the son, John Dara, came up throughout the summer in 2016 and helped us make her safe and make her seaworthy again.
Yeah, she's in a bad way there. She's in a bad way. Lots of work. We brought her back to the original timber, but remarkably, believe it or not, her time sunk at the pier in Belmullet full of mud is what saved her. If she was up in the dry, it would have. It's kind of it's mad to think, but that's really why she was. The timber is as good as it is. It's quite incredible. She was built of amazing workmanship and just amazing timber. Really, it's a credit to the O'Malleys for what compelled you to buy her again?
Well, it took quite some time actually to get her, would you believe it? But I did, with the help of a couple of lads down in Belmullet, we got her. But it was the love and the,
nostalgia.
I couldn't bear to see her where she was, and it's just such a part of Clare Island's heritage and its history. I think everybody on Clare Island, or the older generation, the younger ones wouldn't know, wouldn't remember her, but the older ones do, and we were very excited to see her coming back. And I think, you know, every time they're happy to see her on the bay now. You know, they do say that to me, and it's lovely to see her back. And many a stormy night they've brought, she's brought people in and out, and to hospital, babies born in the middle of the night. Off you
really?
go,
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so lots of memories, and so it was a privilege to bring her back. And that's the day that we put the cask, actually our first cask, on board. The whole community came out, and we had a bit of a gathering for it. It was a great day.
A big crowd, a big crowd.
Yeah, you know, everyone was very excited to see it happen, and you know, they're all always keeping a watchful eye on it. They're my CCTV is the Clare Island community. You won't get away with much. The way the shape of the
everything's on.
Island, everybody's looking down on it, so it's quite safe.
But it's an incredible story of bringing part of the island's history back home and making it a part of everyday life now. And you were telling me about these coins. You call them keel coins or something like that?
Well, I suppose it came about. Every boat, every new boat that's built, to my knowledge, lay a coin in the keel. Just when they're laying the keel of the boat, the first part of the boat you build, they put a coin into it for good luck. And we have taken that idea and brought it into our brand and our story. And so we minted our own coin. And the year 1968 is when she was built. Obviously, the name of the company, the name of the boat. And then the beast that we've taken from the Abbey, the ceiling of the Abbey, as our logo, and the first anchorage. So the idea for people that buy the first release, they'll receive a coin in the post that will act as their rite of passage to Clare Island when they're coming to partake in the experience, which you have to buy to get a bottle of our Clare Island single malt.
I mean, I remember this story at the very beginning when you signed this cask and you decided to take part in this adventure of taking a cask and putting it on a boat. But a lot of time has passed since then. 3 years, and the product is finally ready. But here you are signing the cask before it went onto the Dolphin, and this is a source spirit from Connacht Distillery. So you've kept everything in County Mayo, and it's a bourbon cask, and you put single malt in there at obviously it's in there at cask strength, and it's been on many a trip since then. So I think this is the day you put it into the boat.
That's right. Well, that's actually just at the Connacht Distillery. The day we just put it into the trailer. I think it was the first cask to leave the distillery. You know, we've been very lucky. I suppose when we started this adventure, the two things that I had in my head, however mad it was at the time, but was whatever I did, it had to be Mayo through and through. And I had to source the spirit in Mayo, and it had to be obviously matured in Mayo. And for me, that was very important. Obviously, I could have gone to the big distilleries and got spirit, you know, at a cheaper price. But that's not what we wanted. We wanted something that was very unique to County Mayo, very, very. So I was delighted. I went up. Actually, it was a girl, Rachel Nolan. You probably know Rachel.
Yes.
Who introduced me to the distillery at the time. She brought me up there, and I met Rob Casal, who was the master distiller, and I read up a lot about him and about what he had achieved over in the US, and I suppose on foot of that and meeting him up in the distillery and meeting Dave Stapleton up there, I said, yeah, these are the guys I want to work with. And I was, got a lot of support from them to date, and it's been a great collaboration. But very much so, very proud that it's a Mayo spirit, and yeah.
I mean, you have kept it very local, and you have kept it very true to its origins. But how on earth did you come up with the idea of getting a cask and putting it on your boat?
Well, I suppose it started all with a conversation with my cousin Paul, Moran in the States. He was home, or I can't remember, we might have been on the phone or something, and he was telling me about Jefferson matured at sea spirit, bourbon, and I don't know, I just loved the idea of it, and I read up about it, and read reviews about it, and I suppose it just sparked a little flame somewhere inside, and then just kept going with it until the Dolphin came around, and things just happen. Sometimes things just fall into place, and I suppose you spark a light over here, and next thing it joins something else over here, and next thing the whole thing just started, and so that's the origins of it. Yeah,
all gained momentum from there. I mean, are you a big whiskey fan?
I am. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a pub, so I suppose I've been serving it since I was a nipper.
Yeah.
And I suppose when we grew up, it was all Powers, Jameson, and Paddy. The old guys, the old characters. That's what they drunk, and the top shelf was Middleton, and that was it.
Yeah.
My uncle Jackie used to love Black Bush, and and nipping away at those over the years when I was young. But then I suppose later on, kind of through conversations with Connor Ryan, and who you also know, I think, and was on your show actually recently. Connor and I were in college together.
In Galway, yeah.
In Galway, we did hotel and catering together. Yeah, but I suppose Connor is so Jesus. He's so passionate. He's infectious when you talk to him, and I suppose I've learned a lot from Connor, and I suppose took a bit of the bug off him, and I suppose that's kind of where it all came from. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the cask sitting sideways, if you like, on the boat. So obviously that's just for stability purposes more than anything.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of debate about which way we should do it, obviously. But I mean, when she's at anchor, the boat it depends which way the wind. If the wind is in from the east, she can roll pretty serious, you can get some, violent pitching. And so the idea to keep the cask on its flat with the lowest center of gravity was kind of the way we went with it. That's the old engine mount where the engine used to be. And but I actually have her up out of the water at the moment now. We're getting her ready to take more casks next month. So that was the day we put down the first. That's David there on the right, David Stapleton, and Paul. Sorry, I'm dreadful with names on the left, but But then I suppose there's water always underneath. There's always a bit of water leaking in from the old timber planking. So there's salt water under the cask all the time, and it's an unusual environment, because you also have the cooling effect of the sea in the warmer and the hot in the summertime.
Sure.
You radiate the cold water from the sea, 12 degrees, 13 degrees, even on hot days underneath the deck. But the salt air can be quite corrosive, and I don't know, you probably won't see it from the image there, but we spent a while. My wife is a surfer, and we spent quite some time working on an organic wax that we could coat the hoops of the barrel to prevent them from obviously corroding and causing fatal failure. So that took, I think, about 3 or 4 different revisions, but we eventually got there, and we have our own little recipe now where we literally coat all the hoops of any of the casks going on, and it's been amazing. It's basically beeswax and coconut oil, and beeswax, coconut oil, tree sap, and there's actually tea in there as well, because somebody told me to do it. But anyway,
you have a potentially money-making venture in that alone.
Absolutely, yeah. I might patent it now.
Yeah. Well, what were the other challenges, Carl, of having that on board? Did it get many knocks? Was there much leakage? Was there balance on the boat affected at all, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, you're always fighting against the sea. I mean, everybody that knows anything about boats and boat ownership is that if you don't maintain a boat against the sea, I mean, the sea is your enemy in boat maintenance, and boat, it just corrodes ahead of it, and barnacles grow unless you keep the bottom of the boat anti-fouled, and they can eat into the timber in this lady because she's timber. So there's huge challenges. Obviously, you have to. My brothers Alan and Brian are great help in the summers with the big ferries. They come in and they lift the anchors for me to make sure they're secure. So we're always upgrading those, always maintaining the boat, taking it out, painting it. So you're kind of always fighting against the elements to make sure that she's there to the morning when you wake up and look out.
Yeah.
But
it's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, the 3 years have passed, and this is the result.
Yeah, nearly 4 years. Well, she's
nearly 4 years.
It'll be 4 years in June, but we obviously haven't bottled yet. So we're holding out till the very end, of course, to give it as much time in the cask as possible. But that's
stunning bottle, absolutely stunning and unique.
It's been a one hell of a journey, to be honest. I can't tell you the work that's gone into the packaging alone, the box, the team. I mentioned to you before Alexander Dunlop, who's a global brand consultant for, he's worked all his life with Unilever. He has a house on Clare Island, himself and his wife, and I know him since I was a kid. And I suppose I went to Dublin when his little office in Dublin. I went up to see him one time in 2017 after I kind of concocted this mad idea, and I went into him and I told him what I wanted to do, and I said, there's just so much, like, how do you bring something like this together? Because like we had the island, of course, we have the unique selling point of the spirit, the boatmanship, building the boat, all of these different parts of the brand and the story that were there, but not knowing what to use and what way to go forward. But thankfully, Sandy says to me, well, you can use it all, but you have to do it in a certain way. And we started a journey together, building our brand and our story. That's just been incredible, and I have to say it's just been such a joy. For the last 3-4 years building it, and himself, and he has another incredible guy called Bill Felton, who is one of Ireland's top creatives in his day. Well, retired, totally retired, but bought into what we were doing and the story ever since the start. And he has also been a massive part of creating what you see in front of you. And then Stuart, Sandy's son as well, who's now over in Australia working on helping to create this. It's a long story to just this picture, but it's been an incredible journey and with people that I just could never repay.
You can't help but be drawn into this story, Carl, at all. We'll talk about that in a sec, but just a quick question there from Dermot asking about the angel share. Presumably the angel share loss would have been higher at sea. with all the agitation, or
Yeah.
was it normal, what you expected?
We haven't, I don't know yet, because I won't know until I get it back to the distillery.
Right.
We're bringing it back to Connacht probably in April, and that we'll know then. Obviously, we've taken samples and we dip it, but you can't be sure. Yeah, you would expect the angel share to be higher, but we'll just have to wait and see.
So you don't know how many bottles you'll be getting out of this yet?
Not yet. No.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Well, like I said, it's an incredible story, and the branding around it has been fascinating because none of it's contrived. I mean, there are genuine links to every element of it, and that's from refinding the boat to the island itself, to the monastery that's there, to every element of it. And being at the core of the boat's journeys.
Absolutely, yeah. It really has, yeah. I mean, that's why it's just been, I suppose, it's been such a creative experience working with the guys and Mr. Stevens in Dublin as well. I mean, these guys have helped. The brand, all the stuff is there. Has always been there. What Clare Island whiskey has done, our spirit has done, is give us an opportunity to tell it in a way that I think justifies the story. I mean, it really is. It's incredible the links that have been created that throughout this process. I mean, it's just been an incredible journey, really. And that's this is the thing. We're at a point after 4 years where you don't know whether you're making the right decisions. You don't know if you're right or wrong. It's I suppose 4 years of labor looking at the same things, and then you get to a point like now, like today, where we show it to the world, and it's like running out into the street naked.
No, I know. We kind of talk about the maiden voyage, but I mean, you've been on this journey now for a while, and there will be more journeys to come, and hopefully people will come to the island and get to experience it. Tell us a little bit about the bottle design, because it's very unusual.
Yeah, well, that was years of searching. It was 2 years searching for a bottle. I mean, you'll see in the background there, I was going with blue, and I was getting stuff. I even had a crock bottle crafted but it was just a journey, a roller coaster. Hundreds of hours on searching through every booklet we could find, and a long process. And eventually, this came across my eye, and I knew straight away. The bottle is, you can see the base. It's like an island in the distance. It's like a wave. It's you can take from it what you want. For me, it's a wave. It's an island. And there's no straight edges to it. It's just so organic. It's like a beach stone. It's like when you pick it up, you
just want to hold it. You look at it and you just want to pick it up.
I've so many bottles and boxes around me now. I'm just looking for it. But anyway, it's very it's a very organic feel to it. And I suppose the labeling and print on it, we're delighted with too. We worked with Connor and Siobhan Stevens on that, and I think they did beautiful work. They created this brand identity for us, which was again a wonderful process and a very creative process, and it acts as our guidelines for going forward. So delighted with that. But then the box, I'm super proud of. I suppose it's 100% recycled timber.
Yeah.
There is no new timber on it except the cork. The cork is obviously new, but the base timber, that is only a sample, because I actually have, you probably, if anyone sees my videos on social media, I got these huge timber beams from the pier in Westport. They'd be there since, I think, the 1900s, early 1900s. And my brother, actually Brian, was given one or a few of them, and I brought them away and got them cut. So the timber on the base where the wave is going to be made from that timber. We're just drying it out at the moment, so it's got great history to it. There's a wonderful story, and we'll have a little booklet when we come when we go to release. We'll have a little booklet there that will tell all of that kind of story. But each of the panels, then, I suppose, I went into the work shed here at the side of the house, and when I had the bottle, I created the base, and then I was working with it for ages and looking at it, and then the idea of being able to tell the story of our brand in the box just came to life, and the 4 panels just naturally happened. But then the filling of them out in terms of the crafting of the wording has been really the work of the team, and Bill and Connor, and which has just been amazing. The first panel is about the island. It's the call to adventure, and it's a call into the wild Atlantic. We all have a storm inside of sorts, and we all aspire to be able to get away, and I think an island offers that opportunity for people. The second panel is our provenance. It's about the boat, it's about the spirit, it's the spirit of the sea. It is what it is. And then the third panel, Tall Tales and High Seas, is really about the people, the community, the men of the sea, the stories of the sea, which are quite powerful. There's nothing, more, I think, imaginative than being able to sit in a small bar on Clare Island, or any place, and talk to an old man of the sea and listen to their wisdoms and their stories. The sayings that you'll hear from those characters is one off. You won't hear them too many places, because they've people that have lived through dangerous situations and come out the other side. And then the last panel then is about the secret code. It's about the Abbey. It's about I suppose your journey to the island, the experience that we're offering people to come and take with us. We want to take you on a journey into the wild Atlantic, and you just might find the secret code.
You might do. I mean, it is a beautiful presentation. I commend you, really, that you and the team have done a fantastic job on that. And like I say, it's not a contrived story. It's just bringing it together. And what do the locals on the island think of all of this, Carl?
Well, I think they're probably I'd say it's been going on so long, and even for I looked, because we registered the website, or Siobhan was working on the website and she needed the domain. I went back and I checked. I had to give her the domain, and I looked. It was June 2014 when I registered the domain. So I mean, literally, it's been going on that long. I think people are just passive when it comes to it now. But I think going forward, we have a 10-year business plan from this point forward. We want, what we set out to achieve with this whole project was, I suppose, I don't know, living on an island, it has all sorts of disadvantages. And I just had this feeling that in some way that we could turn those advantages into our advantages, and turn it into a product, turn it into an experience. I think that if we can achieve what we set out to achieve from a commercial point of view, we will have our own distillery. We'll have our own bonded warehouse next year, please God, and we will have our own distillery in 2025, and making our own spirit on Clare Island, and hopefully that will, bring back to the community jobs. Certainly, in the long term, more sustainable jobs. In the short term, very much seasonal jobs with the tourism aspect of the experience. Will be positive for the island, and so I think in time, hopefully they will be quite positive towards it. At the moment, I'm sure they're quite passive, because I've been flaking around this thing for so long.
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember we talked about this over 3 years ago now, and it's actually amazing to see it come to fruition.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And today's another milestone has been hit as well, and I suppose one of the big things that we wanted to discuss was the release that you're launching something new as well today. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about that, and I'll bring it up now when a little bit about it.
Obviously, I've been on this journey and of learning very much in terms of the industry, huge learning, and every day is a new experience and a new learning for me. But I think the podcasts that you've run for the last while have 35 of them have been hugely informative for me. I'm not the best reader in the world. I think I'm a little bit dyslexic. I don't like reading, but I love listening. And I've listened a lot to all of the different characters that you've had on, from the likes of John Teeling, it's like the old granddaddy of the industry. And, loved obviously listening to Ryan, the brain, and David Broom, I thought was an incredible, insightful experience on the Scottish industry and its comparisons. But all of that, and then I said, well, how am I going to launch this product and this brand and this experience and website? And it just came that I would ask you to do it, because I suppose it has been a part of getting to where I am. And it gives us obviously a platform to do so. So I'm very thankful to you for that. And so today I am officially launching our website, and I'm officially launching our brand. And I'm doing it live here on the Irish Whiskey Magazine podcast. And I'm very thankful to you for facilitating that, Sergius.
Well, look, Carl, it's such an engaging story. It's such an immersive story. It's a romantic story, and it's a story of struggle and success. And I can't wish you any more good wishes. I mean, I'm blown away by the whole thing. Really, I'm blown away. I know, and I've seen the amount of work you put in over the last while. And, if there's any case for a homegrown product getting success, it's yours. And I really, I am blown away, and I'm super privileged that you allowed us. You gave us the honor of actually sharing this experience with you. And look, I mean, the website is there, it's live, but I think probably this probably requires a toast.
Absolutely. It certainly
And you
does.
very kindly sent me, now I've got something that I'm super excited to have, and that's a cask, a sample from the cask itself. So this is cask strength at around 50-something%, you were saying. So
yeah, about 58%.
And I nosed it earlier, although you certainly filled it to the top, this small bottle. I mean, there's not much room left, but it'll certainly. And I had a snip of it earlier, and I was shocked at how much flavor is there for such a small, short period of time. So,
that's what we, I suppose, what we set out to do, Sergius, in terms of the spirit is we set out to create a taste of the sea, and if that is what I read in the posts and the people's opinions on it in time, that's my measure of success. We didn't set out to create Redbreast 12. This is a very pointed exercise to create a taste of the sea, and I hope. Well, I'll just leave that to you.
Well, look, let's raise a toast. Firstly, to the launch of the product, and secondly, to the website and health and success with this project. I'm really enchanted by it. So let's see if the whiskey lives up to it now.
Go for it. I'm going to stay mute now, and you can take over.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, the first thing I get on the nose is honey and honeysuckle, and very floral notes as well. And surprisingly, I don't get what I would have thought would have been a big woof of the sea, but I do get very subtle tones of it. There's a saltiness and a bit of a brine there on the nose. Yeah. And the color is actually, it's picked up quite a bit of color for the period as well. It's almost luminescent as well.
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, that's I suppose another thing in terms of the agitation against the cask, the constant agitation against the cask. It will pick up a deeper maturation. That's what we have seen, and yeah. And
I get a lot of green fruits off this as well. Definitely, green apples. Let's see. So on the tongue, very, very peppery, very creamy, sweet, and there is that back note of brine for sure.
Yeah,
you definitely get sea air, and actually you get sea air more than sea water, and some elements of seaweed as well. So
yeah,
I mean, it's well past the 3-year whiskey in terms of, obviously the agitation has had a huge effect on this. So Sláinte.
Cheers, Sir Jos. Here's to Clare Island.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things I need to obviously talk about also has been the
experience,
the experience, but also the spirit itself. We haven't been allowed. I suppose one of the main challenges that we had through this process was, we've done something that's completely left field, and we set out obviously to create a whiskey, but through during the process, we applied to the HSE for Irish whiskey accreditation through the GI. And we were refused on the basis that it was that the spirit wasn't in a bonded warehouse. I suppose I ran on the basis from the start, not knowing that I wasn't allowed to call it an Irish whiskey, but I assumed that I would have been allowed to call it a whiskey. Because of the European classification for whiskey, which is obviously just 3 years maturation, and there's no reference to a bond. Yeah. So, but the Department of Agriculture disallowed that, and so I suppose we went through a very long process of trying to find its identity, which was a huge stress, I suppose, as you can imagine. We had done all this work. Yeah, and we had, all this creativity, and not knowing who we were or what we were was a bit of a challenge. And but I took 11 months working with the department and the HSE and the Department of Agri to come to our final name, which is obviously Clare Island single malt spirit drink barrel aged at sea. And that's where we stand today. A lot of 11 months of work.
I know, we talked about this. Carl, and actually, I still think you have a case for calling it whiskey. But on the other side, I actually think it adds to it by not calling it a whiskey in a sense. You know, there's a talking point there as well, and a bit of discussion. In my eyes, it's a whiskey. I mean, the technical terms of it not being stored in a bonded warehouse, to me, is irrelevant anyway. And to most people that would be interested in whiskey and have some knowledge of whiskey, I don't think they're going to be taken aback by that. And you know, in a funny way, it's a differentiator.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I mean, we are who we are. I mean, we set out to do something, and I feel we've achieved it, and that's what matters to us. And I think if people buy into what we've done, you know, I really don't think that it's an issue. You know.
No, I certainly don't think it certainly tastes like a whiskey, drinks like a whiskey, looks like a whiskey, then it's a whiskey. Yeah, I mean, but the story behind this, Carl, is you can't just go and buy this and buy it in a shop.
No.
Tell us about the process and what's involved. And this is the part that I found fascinating and what I think is fantastic for the island. So take it away there.
Well, I suppose, you know, it happened again quite organically with the team. You know, working through the brand development and creating, you know, the heart and soul of Clare Island whiskey. And I suppose what is whiskey? What is, you know, I heard you asking David Broom, you know, what is it about whiskey that kind of brings people to it? You know. And I don't think he had an answer for you. I'm not even going to try and answer, but it's the question, isn't it? What is it about a whiskey? What is it about an island? I'm probably better qualified than David to answer that question. I think I've done a bit earlier on. You know, and I suppose what we do as boatmen and as tourism operators on the island, it just lent itself to this. And what we want is we want people to become our brand ambassadors for Clare Island whiskey, and to come and to experience the island for what it is, the culture, the people, the community, the history, the myth, you know, and everything that's there in abundance. And what we've done is we've crafted an experience like no other, really, on a national level. I can't talk outside of that. But so the idea is that you come to Clare Island, you take your trip, you leave your car behind on Runa Pier, and you leave your troubles behind, and you turn off your phone and you come with us on an adventure, and we carry you through you know, a story. We carry you through food, music, entertainment, scenery, Grace O'Malley, Gráinne Whale, the Irish myth and legend of 2,000 years worth of stories, and we send you back to the mainland with your box, your sea chest as we call it, and your coin as a reminder of your experience. So are we a whiskey, or are we a spirit, or are we an experience, is a question that's come up quite a lot. We are a spirit drink. We are Clare Island single malt. That's what we started out to create, and that's who and what we are for now. We will be obviously bringing more things on down the road, but the experience is, I suppose, your opportunity to come and see our brand and to see our home and to take it with you. And I think the box and the bottle is a reminder of that experience when you leave Clare Island. And I suppose we only have 300 roughly. We'll see what it is, what it comes out at in the end after the angel has her tipple. And you know, so we'll be spreading that over every Sunday from when the season starts to the end of the season. Every Sunday we'll be running the experience, which takes in what I've just explained. and you buy your experience on the particular Sunday that you want, and that's it. You get to kind of check in on the island. You log in, or you sign into the book, and then you head off with your box and your bottles. So it's very different. It's not been done before that I know of. I hope that people will see it for what it is, and just be open to it, and hopefully down the road it'll prove to have been the right decision.
Yeah. But I mean, talk about a gift. Talk about giving a gift to the island. Apart from just creating a spirit and selling a spirit, I love the way that it's intertwined with coming to visit the island, take part in visiting and touring all the historic sites, and being part of the experience. So, I mean, this is experiential tourism to the extreme, and done.
I think so.
Excellently.
I think so. Well, I hope so. I mean, proof is always in the pudding. So it's always post-event that we'll be looking forward to hearing the result. But I mean, for the last number of years, I've had a cruise ship come to the island for in May for a number of years, and they're quite a small cruise ship, about 250 people. And I suppose this was one of the things that led me to the idea of the experience as well, that I'd bring them through this kind of this journey of time that the island facilitates, from 5,000-year-old Fulloch de Fies, Stone Age cooking sites and megalithic tombs, to the famine. And the famine is just scattered all around you on Clare Island, the lazy beds and the famine houses, all of this stuff, this history is just literally flowing off the landscape. And I carry these guys through this story of time, and at the end of it, they're so captivated by it, and most importantly, the community bought into those experiences and came to the bar and did the cultural events that they do through the shanos, or through the the word has gone from my head, but the local cultural arts. And and then the food offering as well. We do a taste of Clew Bay for them, and they were just blown away from it. I was getting emails and letters from Australia and from America with people after they had left, and they had said, that it was the highlight of their entire cruise. And I was just like blown away by this. And but it mostly because of the community involvement and the kids playing music and dancing and singing and doing what they do. Nothing out of the ordinary for them, but for people coming to experience it from the far side of the world that have no idea of these things, it's quite powerful, and actually.
I mean, looking at the people that are on here, the vast majority are from abroad, so you've got people from Australia, from Canada, from Newfoundland. It's the first, from Belgium, from Italy. It's just lots from the States. Norway.
Wow.
Yeah. So look, I mean, I think it's obviously tugged at heartstrings as well, the story, but it is phenomenal. I mean, if somebody wants to get the experience that comes, so you buy the experience, you don't buy the bottle. So to get to actually take the experience, and how do they go about? Do they sign up on your website?
Yeah. We will be going. The website's just gone live today on your show, and the experience will be on sale from the 1st of March. And each, obviously we have a bottle numbering system, and the bottles will be starting at number 12. The first ones belong to the team, and everyone that's created this thing, and. So from 12 to wherever we finish at, will be going on sale from the 1st of March on our website, and it's on a first come, first served basis. Hopefully we sell a few.
So they do have to come to the island. And I had one question there from Shamini. Hi, Shamini from Norway. she was asking, is the wheelchair accessible, the island?
It is indeed, yeah. It is indeed, absolutely, yeah.
So Shamini is a huge Irish whiskey fan and fan of Ireland. So
Well, we
that's
need
gonna
three
be good
just
news.
in terms of the ferry. We just need to make contact with us, and we'll just be ready. But absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. What's your vision for the future, Carl? Then with this, obviously, this is the first release, and it's only the
Um,
start. But where do you see it going?
um, just to create our own small distillery, to get into export, to learn as we go. It really just started with an idea and a dream, and literally we've just about got to the point where we can test it and let people know what we've been doing for the last number of years. Going forward, absolutely, working with the team and working with Connacht and Connor, Ryan, and trying to come up with other. I have one or two, of course, crazy ideas that I won't tell you about for now. I'm not
Okay.
two crazy ones, but we'll have. They'll be probably lower key stuff, something similar to what we're doing. But going forward, obviously we're going to be looking. I always find it hard to pronounce that word. Terroir.
Terroir, yeah.
Terroir.
Yeah.
Obviously learning as I go, but obviously would love to look into that in terms of the local agriculture and build that into our design going forward, and just enjoy it. I mean, I have to say I've enjoyed this experience with the guys just so much. It has been just such a privilege and a pleasure to be working with the team to create what we've done. I hope that people will appreciate it and enjoy it too, and hopefully I can keep the team together and we can create something, our next adventure together. We'll, please God, be starting it soon enough, and see where it takes us. You know, just see where.
Well, there's Tom Leake from New York has visited the website, and he's singing its praises, and it is a beautiful website. It's really clear, and it really describes and gets to the essence of everything. Carl, I mean, how do you feel now that you've actually got there and you've done it? And, I suppose the next stage is actually presenting bottles to people and getting them on the island. Has it been worth all the blood, sweat, and tears? I know the answer, but...
Yeah, of course. I mean, of course. Jesus, there's been so many knocks. I mean, Christ, we've been knocked so many times. I mean, when we were trying to find out who we were and our identity as a product, I mean, there was lots of nights where you're just kind of rolling in the bed. I can't stress that enough. That feeling when you're trying to. But I'm very happy. So happy that we've got to this point, and I'm happy for my family. I hope that we can, be happy with what we've created, and happy with our life going forward, whatever that might be, and looking forward so much to getting out of lockdown and getting back to hugging and kissing people, and having a beer and a pint in a packed pub when there's people spitting and farting all around you, and never thought I'd be looking forward to something so much.
I know it's been really, but if there was ever a reason that I wanted lockdown to end quickly, you've just given me one, Carl. I mean, you must be, and you should be incredibly proud. And I think the island community should be very proud, and all those that were involved in the project, because it is a phenomenal story, and for us. This isn't the story that you could kind of script. These are the kind of grassroots stories that we really love, and why we wanted to start the magazine and the podcast. And you've given us the honor of actually helping you present this today. So all I can do is wish you the very best of luck. I have no doubt in my mind that it'll be a complete success. If it's not, I'll buy all the trips myself and come every weekend several times for the next 6 years or whatever it takes.
We'll definitely see you on the island this summer.
There won't be anything keeping me back. So look, congratulations. It's a fantastic achievement, and I'm so happy for you to see that it's actually come to an end. And just like it says, like Rose says, to have the vision that you had and actually see it through to fruition, and done so well and elegantly, and to give back to the community is a real tribute to yourself and your family and all those involved. So
thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And
just before we go, I just want to also just to thank obviously the people that have supported us in terms of we got some local supporting from the Mayo County Enterprise Board. Fáilte Ireland have also been a big support, and flags through BIM. Declan Nee there was a great help as well, and funding. So we couldn't have done it without their help. So we're delighted that they saw the potential in us and decided to give us a few quid and the support we needed. So yeah.
Well, look, I mean, we've never had so many well wishes of support before, Carl. So you've obviously struck something really positive with people.
Yeah. And we'll see you all on Clare Island very soon.
Carl, again, thank you. Thanks for joining us. All the very best of luck, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Cheers. Take care. Wow. Well, that was something extraordinary. What a privilege for Carl to share that experience with us. I'm, lost for words, because that is just such a phenomenal story. And we hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it and you want to watch more shows, please subscribe to our channel or consider subscribing to our magazine to help us support you, bring you some more amazing, genuine, heartfelt stories like that. So in the meantime, stay safe. We've a great show lined up next week. We'll announce that tomorrow. And thank you all very much for joining. Take care.